Let's begin.
Hit him with the glitch.
I think we're ready for the next producer. Are you ready?
Jimmy, this guy.
This guy is the online world champion 2022. I gotta go and give it up from Germany. Make some noise for SyJo!
Hit him with the glitch.
I've had the pleasure of watching this guy in multiple different battles. All I have to say is you are in for a treat. You ready? Tokyo, it's on you. You already know what to do. SyJo is gonna be getting down right now with the producer. I say the 3, you say the 2 and the 1 in 3.
2, 1, beatbox.
So here. You think this is over?
All right, so that was SyJo. Man, so obviously, Parasite being the second half of that, I've heard that so many times because it's simply one of my favorite tracks. Probably my favorite track from SyJo. Looking at the grand scheme of things, like
Huh?
over the years of how much I've watched SyJo, I think Parasite's probably still my favorite. And the way that he did it here, probably the most clean. And obviously, he changed a few things. It just sounded so full and powerful here in terms of like sound design. Um, First time hearing the first track, I can't remember what it's called, even though we just watched it, but very solid track, very SyJo-esque. Clearly, he has very good vocals carried throughout the routine itself. Very solid. This is another one of these producer sets here. I don't think he was using a DAW at all. I think that was just simply the MK2, and I think he's using the Helix. You can correct me.
Helix, yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
he's just using that in the Helix. It gives us a very, raw MK2 feel, just kind of like Chaos, right? Simply everything was created. He had the presets there, obviously, but everything was created live for the most part, right? So, yeah, I think that's valued a lot. Like looking at everything that's playing out so far, I think that's valued a lot by the judges. Because I love SyJo. I love what he did here. I love Parasite. It's one of my favorite tracks of all time. My favorite track from him. I enjoyed his first track here. But I can't, in good faith, like in terms of the music, put it above KBA. I like the KBA's music a lot more. I think on a technical standpoint, SyJo is absolutely incredible on KBA's level. It's just the fact that I've heard Parasite so many times. Everything that I heard from KBA was like brand new. Um, Also, like, just like the way that KBA kind of transitioned his tracks and whatnot, I enjoyed a lot. SyJo is very, very good though. Like, don't get me wrong, he's definitely like up there in top 3 for me so far. Maybe number 2 between him. Top 3 is kind of like jumbled in my head right now, but yeah, that's like a very solid, very SyJo-esque, pretty much in line of what I expected, especially the fact that he's kind of like didn't lean into the software side of it, so we didn't really see anything relatively like new in terms of, you know, the creation of his music. It's pretty much just like what we're used to seeing from him. MK2, Helix. So yeah, I got pretty much what I expected, and I enjoyed it a lot. So what do you think about it, Duncan?
Yeah, I I remember watching the live stream and then knowing the results also like um for me I think Antrix and KB I would put them above SyJo. But then like at the end of the day it's also like I've heard SyJo live
Yeah.
and SyJo live sounds absolutely ridiculously good. It's like yeah, like him and like Bannon are kind of in the similar category as in they sound great on video, but then live is just it's a different feeling and it's somehow just better. If that makes sense. Like the mixing choices and all. Yeah, so like I would expect this to sound amazing live. Just like looking at the video. But then I do feel like just in my opinion, right? In my very humble opinion, I think technically, with in terms of like how, in terms of the music, and in terms of maybe, um, yeah, the technical aspect of making music, I would put some other people before SyJo. But yeah, SyJo's just really stylistic, and yeah, I, I liked it a lot the first time I heard it, and I still like it a lot now. So yeah,
Yeah, I enjoy SyJo a lot for sure as well. It's just like it's a producer category, so um, it's hard to put into words, but like it has such a different feel, right, than what we hear from KBA and like you said, Antrix, right? Just like completely two different kinds of styles, right? Or just like the simple fact of like the creation of the music, right? So when I think of producer, I lean more in favor of like that kind of style, like of KBA and Antrix. I feel like, hmm, how do I phrase this? Similar to like Chaos, right? Like again, like we mentioned or I mentioned rather before, this has a very raw MK2 kind of vibe. When I think of producer, I don't think of this. Um, as good as this was, not saying it doesn't belong. Obviously, it does because it came in fucking first place. So like, not trying to discredit
yeah,
him at all. Um, but man, like, I think on like my opinion of like what producer should be, it's kind of like different than the actual reality. So like, um, I love what SyJo did here. Gives us a very like it's very SyJo esque. I love his music. He has a very good voice again. Also very clean, man. Like that was super super clean, especially that version of like Parasite. The fact that he did that on stage like that, where nerves come into play, it was so like well executed. Um, but fuck, dude, like those producer sets with the DAWs, I think like I'm turning, bro. Like I swear to God, like live here,
same,
like you just like a
same.
different kind of level to that stuff, right? And like that's mainly the reason. Like I'm only speaking in terms of the music. Um, put the
Mm-hmm.
technical aspects aside. I know you said like there is some technicality and like it takes a skill obviously to create DAWs, right, and to actually execute it in a live performance. I 100% get that. I don't do it myself, so I can't really comment on that. But just like what you can kind of do with a DAW, right, is just absolutely fucking mind blowing. And this is a very good MK2 and Helix track, right? But it's not a DAW track. It doesn't have like that kind of like differentiation and like sound design and like you look at it, KBA, you listen to like KBA and Antrix, and you listen to this, there's a clear difference, right? So like that's like my train of thought when it comes to producer, like the way that I'm thinking about it.
Okay,
Not necessarily trying to put down SyJo at all, obviously. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much like my thoughts about that, really.
interesting. Because what I think is, like, at least to me, the main difference between the main advantage that DAWs would give, in my opinion, is cleanliness and the structuring of everything. As in, for one, when you take away the whole, you have to record every sound process, then obviously transitions and structuring would be very different. That's the one main thing. And the second thing would be the mixing and the fact that you have so many more tools. Like, you're not limited to 4 track effects now. Um, but I don't at least, like, as of what we saw with KBA, Antrix, like, I don't think they're using, or like they're not really, the advantage is in that they can make sounds that you can't really make on the Helix, or other second devices. Like, you can still make those sounds. It's just when it all comes together, how clean it is. Um, that's my verdict on it. But like, also, Caliph is asking me in the chat about who I thought had the best mix of the whole producer category. Um, and yeah, what Justin said it is right. Like, it's hard to judge based off of just live audio. But then I would say, in my opinion, like, KB and Antrix, like the there is a gap in terms of mix quality with like them and like SyJo and Chaos, for example, and Freedon. Just like, but then it's also a little unfair to judge that way because of um the different devices they're using. But yeah, so that's why I think the rules really have to change in the sense that it has to be way clearer, as in, are judges supposed to favor one over the other, or like judge in like account for the fact that people are using less devices? Because what if someone's using literally a Mark II and an auto tune pedal, and then they actually make something, really amazing, but then the mix is not as good, you know? Like how much should you um yeah, how much should you take that into account compared to someone who actually spent hours on the DAW trying to make something sound perfect, which there's like literally no point in doing if you're just using a Mark II and a auto tune, right? Like there's a certain level of mix. Once you reach that, you can't really go too much ahead of that. But then for the DAW, it's different. Um, so yeah, I think at the end of the day, what I think should happen is it should be about the performance and the music. So like you listen to the music first and like who has the best music, and then about the performance. I think it should be like that. As in, if you're using a DAW, it would be harder to like show your process in terms of, because you're not naturally recording and like performing and everything already. So that would be the tricky part. But then you have the advantage of potentially having a cleaner mix. That's kind of what I think about it.
Yeah, that's a very good, very good explanation. Really. Again, me, I don't I don't know enough about the DAW to really like go in deep like that. But I can say from listening to the DAW users compared to the non-DAW users here, there's a clear distinction in terms of like you said, um, cleanliness of sounds, which adds a lot
Mhm.
to the kind of overall sound design, which I've been really appreciating in the whole producer category, and just like even outside of that recently. So yeah, but again, man, like SyJo's a fucking master, bro. Like, look
Yeah.
how he just like performed that in one take, right? Like that's something you really got to appreciate, man. Like these people going up here, like when you're going from like online to, in person. Obviously, SyJo has a lot of experience, but to do that at that kind of level in one singular take, obviously he had preparation backstage, I'd imagine, but still to go up on stage and do that in one single take, to have it come out the way that he did there, like absolutely spectacular. And yeah, at the end of the day, it is about the music, bro. Um, when it comes to the judging, though, that's I don't know. Producer this year is kind of weird, right? Or last year rather. Um, very experimental, I think. So I don't know if they're even like too transparent about like their judging. I can't really remember, um, but yeah, I can see like SyJo definitely scoring very high in a technical aspect, right? Um, just because of like who he is. And when you look at
Yeah.
SyJo and you look at his music, it pretty much encapsulates like everything you'd want. Um, if you're like keeping the criteria in mind when you create this music, you look at SyJo's and it pretty much nails almost everything. So, like in that aspect, I'm not surprised, like genuinely. Um, and also just like his music in general is really, really high level. So can't really take anything away from SyJo. Um, just like for me, again, personal biases. Even though I do love SyJo's style a lot, so it's like it's tough. It's really tough. But yeah, with me seeing that, it'd be very interesting to see his day two because he had 8 minutes here. He did that very well, but I think day two is like 4 minutes only. He's cut in half. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll be
Yeah.
seeing like a singular track from him this time rather than two. So yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to see what he comes up with there.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And I think it's really smart how he transitioned between the two tracks as well, because I think it sounds like it's in the same key, and he just literally switched memories really quick and then started recording. It's I'm not sure how Chaos did his stuff. His transitions were a little more complicated, but then just what SyJo did, like what I think is great about it is the simplicity. It just works, you know. And honestly, okay, really hot take. I feel like I feel like if Antrix like could have probably done what he like the same type of music, the same type of set with like a Helix, and then he probably would have ranked higher. Like, and it wouldn't sound as great, but then yeah, just seeing how the judges kind of judged, and like again, I really think you can make the same sounds that Antrix made in his set, like with a Helix. Like I'm sure that like we've seen him do that. So, and I think the fact that that's true, or assuming that that's true, like yeah, people should really rethink about the what the producer category rules should be like. But then also like what I think SyJo and Antrix nails really well is the whole idea of a showcase having like ups and downs, as in like there are singing parts, there are parts where like you take away the sub bass, like with KBA and Chaos. I know obviously like the style of music and the genre matters a lot in terms of what I'm talking about, but then at certain points it can feel like you're fatiguing the crowd a little bit, especially when it comes to 8 minute set. Like and it's like there's a certain point when the drops don't hit as hard because you've been doing because you've been pushing the crowd so much the previous few drops. Um, but yeah, that's something that's just kind of like a takeaway I had. And something I keep in mind of when I'm making my music. But dude, like I'm nowhere near the on the level of they are. So you know, I'm just learning here. I'm just a fan watching. So
I mean, yeah,
I'm
like
not
at
here
the
to
end of
judge
the
or
day, bro,
anything.
like yeah, exactly. These guys can like fucking run circles around me. So like
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm just a dude on the internet chat like chirping, not even chirping, just yapping, you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, again, at the end of the day, love SyJo, you know. Parasite's one of my favorite tracks of all time. And yeah, mad respect to SyJo going up there and doing what he did. So all right, if you
Mm-hmm.
guys enjoyed what you heard here, links in the description to the original video. Go check it out. Go leave it a like. If you want to check out Swiss Beatbox, links in the description to their channel as well. Go leave them a sub. You want to support me, leave a like on this video. Sub to my channel. Check out my Discord channel as well. Links in the description to that. And Duncan.
And if you want to support me, you can sub to my YouTube channel or follow me on Instagram under the name Duncan Loops.
All right, and other than that, see you in the next Beatbox reaction video.